Pranams to all of you. This video is a continuation of the previous video on mind. Some of the viewers, some of my close friends had suggested that I go into this thing called mind a little more, because I had not defined in concrete terms what mind is all about in the previous video, part 1. Therefore, I thought I'll do part 2 of the same topic, what is mind, going into little more depth into both the Western psychology and the wisdom of our ancient Rishis, sages, yogis and munis and masters and so on. So I'm going to begin with some definitions that the Western psychologists had given about mind. You know, right from the days of Sigmund Freud, Alfred Adler, and so on and so on and so on, we take a glimpse into what the Western psychologist had to say about mind, and then we come to our great wisdom of the Rishis. Right? So what is mind? What actually is mind? You know, there is a joke that goes around. Many of you must have heard this. What is mind? Doesn't matter. What is matter? Don't mind. Right? It's really not that funny. But what is mind? This is a very, very tricky, interesting, mystical question. Because maybe we are wanting to look at, find out about mind. The fact could be there is no such thing as a mind. I know it will disturb a lot of you who are watching this video, but let's come to the point. I'm going to read some of the definitions that the Western psychologists had given to us, right from the modern times. Okay? I'm going to read some of them and then I'll explain. One of the first things that the Western psychologists, of course nowadays they don't talk about this, but that's how they began. Mind is a product of brain activity. That was one of the earliest definitions of mind. Even today, many of those Western psychologists strongly believe that mind, what we call mind, is just a byproduct of the activity of the neurons in the brain. We'll question all that. So, mind is a product of brain activity. Look at another definition. Brain is the physical substance and the mind is the conscious product of those firing neurons. Understandable? All right, let's take a look at another one. What is mind? Mind is mental processes, thought and consciousness. Nothing much. What is mind? It has 3 levels: conscious, subconscious, unconscious. This is another way the Western psychologists look at it. What is mind? That part or process that reasons, thinks, feels, wills, perceives, judges, and so on. Hardly anything. What is mind? That which perceives, that which remembers, that which considers, that which evaluates, that which decides. But what is mind? Mind, another definition. I'm just reading so that I don't miss those words. Mind is reflected in such occurrences as sensations, perceptions, emotions, memory, desires, motives, various types of reasoning, choices, traits of personality, and the unconscious. Another definition. Mind can be defined as a person's set of intellectual or mental faculties. But sir, we are asking, what is mind? Why go around the bush? Another definition. What is mind? Depending on, this is another one, depending on how the neurons are activated in the brain and connected to the different parts of the brain, our mental skills will be more or less efficient. Did you get anything? Another one, which we pointed out in the first definition, mind is an epiphenomenon of the activity of the brain, the electrical, chemical activities of the brain, and so on and so on and so on. In essence, this is what Western psychology is talking about the mind. Right. From the perspective of the wisdom of the Rishis, Western psychology is nowhere. In fact, I've heard, very knowledgeable people about Eastern wisdom say, where Western psychology ends, Indian psychology begins. Right? Now, this is as far as the Western psychology is concerned. Now let's move on to the Eastern side. Of course, strictly speaking, there is no West and East. This is again a division created by the intellect. That's what the intellect does. Okay? Now let's go a little deeper and start from our ancient Shastras, Yoga Shastras. You know how those Rishis look at the mind? They not classify actually, this is how they talk about. What is mind? They use these words. Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara, and Chitta. I repeat again. Manas, Buddhi, Ahankaram, Chitta. What is Manas? The totality of thoughts, feelings, sensations, memory, imagination, all that put together, they use the word Manas, our ancient yogis. What is Buddhi? Loosely translated in English as intellect, not intelligence, intellect. That which divides. What is the nature of the intellect? That which fragments, that which classifies, that which analyzes, that which cuts. That's how the intellect works. That is the nature of the intellect. This is another part of the mind. It's same mind, but these are all different functions of the mind. So manas, buddhi, what is ahankara? A lot of people translate this word ahankara as ego. It's actually not ego. Well, you can say that, but actually it is not. Ahankara means identification. My identification with the body, with the emotions, with the intellect, with the knowledge, with the degree, what have you. Identified with your language, the lowest form, identification with your community, with your state, with your country, with the planet, with your religion, for example, right? Ahankaram means identification. Now, intellect always works to protect your identification, because the intellect is always dividing. This is me, that is you. I am a Malayali, you are a Tamilian. I am a Hindu, you are a Muslim. I am this, you are that. That's how intellect divides. That is the very nature of intellect. So intellect will always try to protect one's identity. My country versus your country. My country is better than your country. My God is greater than your God. That's how intellect works. The world is full of that. Look around. Right? The product of education. I use the word education. Headucation. Education. Information overload. That is intellect. Now, what is Chitta? Chitta bypasses memory. Loosely translated, it is intelligence, not intellect, intelligence. Awareness, consciousness, an aspect of awareness and consciousness. Chittam, right? Intelligence. This is how Yoga Shastras look at the mind. Right? They don't directly define, like the Western psychologists, what is mind. They give you these things. Look at all these things. And then come to an understanding. Right? Let's look at Patanjali Maharshi. In the part 1 video, we gave you the different states of the mind. This is another way Maharshi Patanjali looks at the mind, different functions of the mind. What are they? Pramana. I'll first read the Sanskrit names. Pramana, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Nidra, Smriti. Some of these words are clear. What is pramana? Patanjali uses the word right knowledge, clear perception. Right? The ability of the mind to see things clearly as they are. Right? Pramanam, direct knowledge. Right knowledge, not the knowledge that confuses. That's one. What is viparyaya? Incorrect knowledge, loosely translated. Incorrect knowledge, wrong understanding. Simply speaking, wrong understanding. You are not seeing things and people and the world as they are, but as you want them to be. Follow? That's where the error comes. I want to see it this way. Gone. You have missed the point. That is viparyaya. What is vikalpa? The capacity of the mind to imagine. Imagine primarily the future. Right? Future. Imagination. That is vikalpa. What is nidra? Sleep. That is also another function of the mind. Nidra, sleep. And the last one is smriti. What is smriti? Memory. So all this put together is mind. That's another way our Yoga Shastras looks at the whole thing. Right? Now, let's go into a little bit into what Ramana Bhagavan has to say. The great Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. What does he say about mind? People have asked him, Bhagavan, what is mind? How to control the mind? They've asked so many questions. I've made it very simple. What does Bhagavan say about mind? Look at, I'm going to read some of his teachings. Bhagavan Ramana. What is mind? Mind, look at how he starts, is a wondrous power residing in the self. Self, S capital. Not the illusory me, the absolute, Parabrahmam, whatever names you want to call, right? So, mind is a wondrous power residing in the self. It is another aspect of the self. It is not different from self. Bhagavan, it causes all thoughts to arise. Look at another one, Bhagavan's teaching. Apart from thoughts, there is no such thing as the mind. Apart from thinking, the process of thinking, the movement of thinking, Patanjali calls it vrittis, there is no mind. If there are no vrittis, no movement of the mind as thinking, where is mind? Bhagavan clearly says, apart from thoughts, there is no such thing as a mind. Therefore, thought is the nature of the mind. What is mind? Thoughts. What is mind? Thinking. Apart from thoughts, Bhagavan goes one step further. Apart from thoughts, there is no independent entity called the world. Look how far they have gone. In deep sleep, there are no thoughts. Therefore, no world. You might ask, of course, sir, the world is there for everybody else. Now, who says everybody else? Me, na? So, when I fall asleep, where is that center, I, to come out and say, that's the world? Bhagavan gives an example, like the spider emits thread out of itself and withdraws, likewise the mind projects the world out of itself and resolves it into itself. Let's think about it. Thinking. When one inquires into the nature of the mind, the mind will subside, leaving the self, S capital. When you inquire, what is this mind? Where is this mind? Not inquiring with other people, with yourself. I want to find out what this mind is all about. And I look deeper. The more I look into myself, where is mind? Bhagavan says the mind subsides, and what is left is the absolute. I'm just reading from Bhagavan because I don't want to miss the correct words. It is the mind that is called the subtle body or the soul. Ramana Bhagavan. that which rises as I in the body is the mind. Another word for mind is I. If one inquires as to where in the body the thought I arises, first one would discover that it rises in the heart, heart H capital, not the beating heart on the left side. Bhagavan always referred to the heart, Hridayam, on the right side, me. Follow? That is the place of the mind's origin. The inquiry, who am I? Bhagavan's most primary fundamental teaching is this: find out who you really are. The inquiry, who am I, will destroy all other thoughts, and like the stick used for stirring the funeral pyre, it will itself be burnt up in the end. Then what remains is self-realization. Now look what Bhagavan says. I've just selected a few things, teachings of Bhagavan. When the subtle mind goes through the brain and the sense organs, the gross names and forms appear. And when it stays in the Hridayam, names and forms disappear. In essence, what is this manifestation? The universe, everything. The great Rishis of India used only 2 words to boil down the entire creation. Right? Nama Rupa. Name and form. What is name? Sound. What is form? Rupa. Different forms. Table, chair, human being, dog, cat, tree, star, forms. Other than this, what is there? Who is looking at all this? That's a primary question. So with this, we come to the end of part 2 of the video on what is mind, from Western psychology to Eastern wisdom. And we will continue with the rest of the story in part 3 of the same topic. Right? Thank you. Pranam.